the 10x scam in this game, what you need to know, what we have to talk about for the future of this. It just has to be changed. So, hey, let's get it. What up, team? It's MurderInc here, back again with another shard video talking about the rates. The rates are important. People are pulling shards. That's not going to stop. So the company has to act on this. And what are we talking about specifically? 10 times events. Now we've had 10 times events currently, and most recently the Kaimar event, which was huge. It was during a 2 times event, so it felt really good. So I've done a video on this in the past. I think a lot of you have seen it. If you haven't, you can definitely check it out. I have the exact percentages based off of the math of HG Senti, who did a fantastic job, and it was around, you have to pull about 1,000 shards for a 50% chance. Just think about that, 1,000 ancient shards with the current pool of legendaries for a 50% chance of getting that legendary, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I've been asked, and people have requested that I make some type of video saying, okay, Murder, what's your idea? How do we fix this? Is it as simple as increasing the 10x to 50x, 60x? Is it that simple? Will that work? Is that beneficial for the players, obviously, and the company? That's where it gets a little bit iffy, because why would they do anything if they're not going to benefit from it? So I don't know who said it, but a lot of people suggesting this said that there was, I don't know if it was a content creator or just some random Reddit. This sounds like something from Reddit. They said add a pity system for 10 times events. If you don't pull a 10x champion after so many shards during a 10x event, then you get that legendary or whatever the pity is. Listen, that's stupid. That's like, if you have common sense, you know they're never going to do that because it already exists. You might be thinking, Murder, what do you mean it already exists? Hello guaranteed legendary events. That's basically what that means. It means it's a guaranteed legendary event if you have a pity system for it 10 times. So I don't know what Reddit thread that came from, but that's it's a terrible idea, and they would never do that. So the real thing is, all this talk, what is my proposal? Now, this isn't going to be common knowledge, but there are tons of legendaries that are going to be coming out that we don't know about, or that the public at least has no access to and cannot see. And so I've realized this for a while because I've been lucky to have been shared this information, I don't know, in 2019 with all of these different legendaries, and I'm sure there's much more. We have 2 more factions coming out, so the legendary pool is about to expand substantially. I mean, it's just going to keep expanding, so they have to do something. I'm pretty sure they know that. I haven't talked to them specifically about this. I can do that after this video, but I wanted to make this first to see how you guys kind of react to what I'm going to suggest here. So instead of having 10x events, I would prefer something that's more like a faction event. Okay, so instead of having a pool of champions that, how many champions? I believe it was 160 non-void champions the last time I checked. Could be wrong, there could be more, could be less. Number could be way off, and I'm not counting champions you cannot pull from shards on top of that. So I believe around 160 is the number from whenever I got that number from. I believe HG Senti give me a number close to that. So the question is, what if you make it faction based only? So this is why I say this. So think about the odds of pulling 1,000 shards and having a 50% chance of getting a legendary in a 10x event. Now if you don't want to do factions, if the company thinks that's too unrealistic for factions and they're not going to make enough money, they can wait until the next 2 factions come out, which hopefully, I hate saying that because it could be a while, but if they really want it to be efficient, they could wait, or they could just never include Shadowkin and Dwarves in this, and they can go by the, I don't even know what these are called, alliances. We're going to call them alliances for now. They can go by the alliance. So it could be an alliance summoning event. What does that mean? Bannerlord, High Elf, Sacred Order, Barbarian. Only legendaries from these factions can be pulled during an alliance event. This is going to reduce the number of legendaries in the pool significantly. This is why I said doing faction only, it might be a stretch. because we have to look at which faction has the lowest amount of legendaries. How good am I? How good am I? I want to say Skinwalker. 1 row plus 1. Oh no, it's Ogryn. Okay, so Ogryn is the most lacking for sure. That was crazy. I was totally off for that. Night Revenant's fine. Even Shadowkin has more than... Hey, oh, Dwarves as well. What is going on? So Dwarves, but like I said, Dwarves, that would be very hard to implement since there's just 2 there, and the rates can be a little bit scuffed. But if we have an Ogryn event, and it's a solo event, your odds in a company's perspective probably go up too much. On top of that, there's an empowerment system, and I don't think this is the direction they want to go. I think they want it a bit harder for people to get faction guardians, and this would make it significantly easier if you could target a specific faction. Would it be better for the players? 1000%. Like, you don't even have to argue with me about that. I would love it, but do I think it's realistic for the company? No. I don't think anyone watching here is going to say, oh yeah, I think that's fair, right? We know Plarium, we've been playing the game for a while, or maybe you're new and you're watching this now, but if I were them, this is how I would approach this. This makes the most mental sense to me after thinking about it and how they can cut down their numbers and still make some money. I mean, think about it. Demon Lord, Undead, Dark Elf, Night Revenant. As soon as I said that, I was kind of looking at this. The Corrupted summoning event, if they did implement this would be the most broken one. Demon Spawn have crazy legendaries. We already know that. Undead, crazy legendaries. And I mean, listen, they're smart, right? Look at how many legendaries are in these factions with OP champions in them. They're quite full. So is this some foreshadowing? I don't really think so. Now you might be thinking, so Murder, what do you mean by a 10 times event in an alliance? Does that just mean you have boosted rates just for this faction? This is where it gets good. It's going to be specific champions from one of each, right? So 1 Demon Spawn, 1 Undead, 1 Dark Elf, and 1 Night Revenant, but only from the pool of all 4 of those. This is where it gets crazy and why it might have sounded bad at first, like, oh, I can just get any random legendary from Demon Spawn, Undead, Dark Elf, and Night Rev. I'm missing everything but 1. So like, how does that help anybody? You're totally right here, which is why I would much prefer them to stick with their system of specific 10x legendaries, but keep them based on alliances. I think the probability shows it's going to be significantly better. I mean, let's just take this for an example, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We cannot get Vassal, and he's the only one, right? Okay, so we have 12 there. Moving on to Undead, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Okay, so we're at 27 champions going into the Dark Elves, 27, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 39. Finally, Night Revenant, 40, 42, 44, 46, and then 48 champions. So, if my number of 161 was correct, we just lowered that by 1/3. So not only is this going to be a fix to 10x events, it's going to be better than the current system we have out now. And from a company point of view, in theory, this should increase spending because now this is what I thought they were going to do. 10x events, everyone knows there's scams, right? They know there's terrible odds to get it, and unless you're really close to pity, you would never gamble something like this. However, the fact that everybody knows that, if we make it 3 times better, the odds still aren't going to be incredible, right? The odds still aren't going to be crazy, but they're going to be 3 times better. That's going to sit into your consumer's mind. We are the consumers here, paying money if you're not free to play, and it's going to have a huge mental impact on the spending people do for events like this. 2 times events, they're still going to be as popular, but these new alliance events are going to be like premier events. Should they be every other week? Probably not. I think they should be less often. If this is the case, they can definitely figure that out with analytics. I am by far not a professional analytics person, so I couldn't tell them way of approaching this would need to be, but this basically sums up my idea how I would approach it if I was kind of behind the scenes running things at Raid. Of course, I don't have all the information, so that may change if I actually saw the analytics in front of me. Maybe another system could work, but that's just my personal pitch to them they're going to watch this video. No, they always do when I make stuff on shards. So with that being said, give me your thoughts and feedback about this and how you would feel about an event like this, if you would be more inclined, because like I said, there's, not including champions they haven't yet developed, there's over 100 that I can look at right now in some file that's not public. So based on that fact alone, that's almost double the amount we have in the game right now. Just think about that for a second. If we have a 10x event now, and you have a 50% chance of getting with 1,000 shards, that means if they don't change a thing, you're going to need 2,000 shards for 50% chance, and for 1,000, it's going to be a 25% chance. That's like twice the percent chance you have from pulling a legendary from a sacred shard, but it's 1,000 shards. So you guys kind of get my point here, how if they don't make at least plans going forward, this is going to get pretty out of control. Or what they could do, this is something I actually thought of now, so this wasn't part of the video, so this might sound a little bit scrambled, but give us an option similar to Faction Guardians where we can disable legendaries from the legendary pool, right? Disabling legendaries from the legendary pool. I think that would be a really cool feature. It would have to be here. I mean, there's room for another tab. There is room. What's it for? I don't know. I don't know. This is not me speculating like I know something. I really don't know, but I'm just saying. They could add another tab here that costs some type of currency. We can either get, farm, whatever, that we can spend on legendaries to disable them from our shard pool overall, increasing our rates, or even some type of event that disables entire factions from being pulled. There's so many ways they can approach this logically that would be fun for the players. It would increase our odds and probably increase spending. I mean, if you think about it, anytime you can get a better chance at a 10 times event, we're getting a specific champion. We want specific champions. We don't want to pull on 2 times events and pull these terrible champions that they're going to rebalance soon, and then we find the rebalances and it's barely any better. So I know this was kind of a rant video, but I do think it's an important topic to bring up and talk about because of the future in front of us. They got to start doing something rather quickly. So that's going to conclude this video. If you enjoyed this content, smash the like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you all in my next upload.